Hello, welcome. Today we're gonna make some coffee as we usually do. We're gonna pull a shot in a little while with the liquid amber. We're gonna make a cappuccino, my favorite. But first we're gonna start with this little beauty here, as I was showing you guys on the last video. This is a coffee that I ordered from a roaster called Proud Mary. I believe they originated in Australia, but they also have some stuff going on here in the States. They do have a couple of coffee shops from the little research I did. It looks like they have something in Portland, Oregon, and also in Austin, Texas. But this coffee that they're offering here, this one is a rare variety of coffee that comes from El Salvador. So this coffee here, it's the most expensive coffee I've bought to date. So I believe Jesse left me a comment saying that when you start getting up into this level, you're kind of paying for rarity and not really so much for a distinct flavor or something more special. It's just kind of like, because it's rare, it's hard to produce or and that kind of thing, right? So, and I don't mind at all supporting the specialty coffee industry, and I do agree with that statement from Jesse that it is you are paying for the fact that it's a rare coffee and it's something that's going to be hard to find, hard to source. Perhaps it's grown only in one particular place in the world, and that kind of situation, right? Not because the flavor is going to be mind-blowing or anything like that. Once you get up to this level of specialty coffees, from my experience, the differences are subtle. They're not huge differences. When you first try, let's say, a light roast, a specialty light roast, and you're used to having like regular store-bought, like Folgers crystals or something, man, it's a big difference. That's a big step. But once you get already to like the specialty coffees, all these different light roasts, there are subtle differences. There are differences and different tasting notes, and it's really fun to try them. But I do agree with that. Mostly you're paying because of the how difficult it is to source this particular coffee, or the rarity. It's just a rare coffee, a rare species. There's not a lot of it produced and things like that. So now, that being said, let me show you guys. So this coffee here already comes like in a very small little box. Again, the company is the roaster is Proud Mary. I'll put a link, or I'll show their website here on the video, so you guys could look into it if you want to read a little bit about them. And so the box is already small enough, but inside the box is a very small little can. Now it is cool. It is cool looking. I gotta give it to them. I don't think they're the only ones that put coffee in a little tin like this. This is probably common in the industry. I've never received one so far in a little tin. It's always some kind of other form of packaging, but this is pretty cool. There's 100 grams in here. So 100 grams, that should be enough to do 5 coffees. So at that level there, I think you end up paying somewhere around $6 per cup. Okay, so somewhere around there, $6 per brew. That's why I don't want to start with shots, man. It's gonna go quick. We get into shots right away. It might take you 2 or 3 to dial in, maybe 4. Last time it took 5. That's a record. But let's say we get lucky and we get it in a couple shots, but that means you're already wasting 1. I don't know. I want to start with something that is very forgiving. I'm gonna brew it on the Tricolate. On the Tricolate, there's a big range there where you're gonna get a nice cup. Anywhere, in my experience so far, anywhere from like 5 minutes to about 8 minutes, anything like that is gonna be a good cup. Usually shoot for right in the middle, 6 to 6.5 minutes. That's where I seem to get the best cups. So on the Tricolate, I do have a video on how to use the Tricolate and how to dial in on the Tricolate, and it's all about how much agitation you're gonna be putting into the brew. If you're watching the brew and you see a lot of dripping from one specific area, well, you're almost guaranteed that you're channeling and your cup is gonna be weak and not very tasty if you allow it to continue that way. So what you have to do, it's there's 2 ways of controlling that, and I show it on my Tricolate video, so watch that if you want all the details. But basically, you can either stir back and forth with a spoon, Or you can swirl. If you swirl, what happens is that the coffee that's around the edges will come to the middle. So if you do a lot of that, then it's just going to channel through the sides. So you don't want a lot of that. So the way you control it is also doing with a spoon back and forth movement, and that will push the coffee that's in the middle out to the edges. So it's a combination, a balance of the two. Usually it doesn't take more than like one of each or 2 times of each thing to kind of control it and get it to where you can kind of control the flow. All right. Sometimes if your flow is real slow, you might not even want to touch it, because if your flow is really slow and you start to mess with it, you're probably going to stall it. You're going to stall the brew process and you're not going to get anything. So it's always good on the Tricolate to go a little bit, I would say you cannot go as coarse as doing a regular pour over. You're going to go finer than that, but don't go too fine. Okay. Don't get into like those espresso ranges, because what's going to happen is that you're going to get channeling anyway. And then to try to control that, it's just, you're going to end up just stalling the brew. So the Tricolate has proven to be a little bit of a learning curve. To me, it's not that simple. As a matter of fact, if you guys saw, I just got a origami and I've already practiced a couple times with it. I've made a couple brews. By the way, I recorded my very first one. I said I wasn't going to do that because I didn't want to make a fool of myself, but I did. I recorded my very first time using the origami, and it was pretty good. I think right off the bat, I did a pretty good job. So I will make a video. It'll be the next video after this one. Okay, after this one, I will start playing with the origami. But today, since I'm more familiar with the Tricolate, let's get into it and let's make a brew on the Tricolate. And we're gonna open this together for the very first time. So let me get something to try to get this thing open. All right, let's just try to get it open with a butter knife. Again, I never gotten coffee in one of these little tins. All right. Is it gonna have another? No, the beans are right there. Get that first whiff. All right, it looks to me like a medium to light. I'll take a picture of it so you guys can get a close-up of it. But it's very nice. I love the presentation. The little can is really cool. So, like I was telling you guys, it is from El Salvador. And this variety is called Bernardina. And it comes from the farm. I mean, there's a whole story here about where it was discovered. It says in 2008 on a farm called Los Bellotos. So anyway, all right, so let's go ahead and dose out 17 grams and try to brew this on the Tricolate. All right, so to get started, I'm gonna start the kettle. I'm gonna use the Fellow Stag today. I usually don't use it on the Tricolate. You don't need it on the Tricolate. But the reason why I wanna use it today is so that I can control the temperature very accurately. It will hold the temperature at 98 degrees Celsius. So just below boiling. And I have found that temperature to work very well. So I want to control it and maintain the temperature at 98 Celsius throughout the process. So that's the reason why I'm going to use the Fellow Stag. But normally I don't. I just let the water boil and then take it off the heat, and while I'm getting everything ready, and then by the time I make the brew, it's probably around the right temperature anyway. But today we'll go ahead and use the Stag. I have been using it pretty much now daily as I practice on the origami. And wow, I gotta say, I'm really impressed with it. I absolutely love it. I see myself using it more and more, even on the Tricolate, because it's just a pleasure to use. I'm gonna tell you guys how long it takes to heat up to 98, so almost to the boiling point. From it was off, everything was cold. So let's see, I'll put it here on the screen as far as to how long it took to heat up. So. All right, in the meantime, we'll go ahead and dose our 17 grams. That's usually my dose on the Tricolate. I use a 17 gram dose, and I try to get about usually 320 grams of water out. I think today I'll go more for like 300. So that gives me a little bit tighter ratio and a little bit maybe more flavor. So we'll see, we'll start there. We'll go for 17 grams of ground coffee, 300 grams out on the Tricolate in hopefully about 6 minutes. I've never ground this coffee, obviously. I just opened it, so I have no clue. But a setting that has been working on the hand grinder. And again, today we're gonna use the 1ZPresso K Plus, the K Plus models, the one that I have. And it's set right at 5. You see the little red button right over the 5. This is a setting that for the most part has worked fairly well in the Tricolate. We'll see how, hopefully we don't ruin our first go around here, but let's go ahead and grind 17 grams. Now there's a lot of pressure when you put this, when you seal this back up. I do see this working very well for this. I don't see the need in putting it anywhere else. It seals very, very tightly, it seems like. I'll give you guys a little bit closer look there at the can. It's very pretty, I like it. The presentation's nice. I took a few pictures. I'll insert them somewhere here on the video so you guys could see the pictures of all the things that comes with it. There's a little card that comes with it. I had it in some of the pictures in the background. You'll see a close-up of it. If you want to, you can pause the video and read what it says if you're interested in finding out, or go to their website. Everything's on there pretty much. So we got 17 grams. Let's go ahead and grind it. So this should take normally about 25 seconds. Yeah, you could tell this one is a light roast because you kind of have to fight with it a little bit. It's a lot easier to grind a medium or a dark roast than it is a light roast. Okay, I can hear the kettle is basically ready to go. So we're at 97. I set it for 98. Okay, it just hit 98. So it just hit 98. So when I look at the video back, I'll look to see how long it took and I'll put it here on the screen. A little bit cramped here. I had everything set up so it would look nice, but let me start moving things around a little bit. All right, so we have a brand new filter for the Tricolate. When it's a new filter like this, I don't even see the need of pre-wetting it. Today I am going to pre-wet it just because I'm gonna use the carafe and I want the hot water to start heating everything up. And then what I do is I take the water from the carafe and I put it in the cup so it gets the cup even hotter than, it's been sitting already on top of the machine for like an hour, so it should be hot. As a matter of fact, the machine just timed out. I want to start it back up so everything stays nice and hot. You know, I've never noticed to see how long it takes before it times out and turns off, but it's gotta be about an hour. Okay, so right now all we're gonna do is just pre-wet everything, make sure everything starts to get hot. Again, one of the advantages of the Tricolate is that you don't need any special kettle to control the stream or anything. You could just use any regular kettle and it'll be fine. All right, so now the brewer is somewhat hot. The paper is rinsed for all of those of you who think it's a good idea. It is maybe on some bigger papers, but the Tricolate has such a small little filter, like I don't even see any reason to do it. Okay, yeah, the cup is already warm. But we'll go ahead and put the hot water in it. Okay, that'll help to keep the temperature. As a matter of fact, I'm gonna add a little bit more. All right, let's get the coffee in there. Okay, nice smell. I always like to smell the fresh ground coffee. That is one of the pleasures of brewing at home. Okay, so we're done with the grinder for now. Now, something on the Tricolate is that you do want to distribute a little bit to help avoid the channeling. Just make sure everything's nice and fluffy in there and it's nice and even everywhere. Okay, I just realized that this thing is kind of tall and you guys can't see the whole top of it. Let me see if I pull the camera, put it in a different angle. All right, so today you guys have a little bit different view there, a little different angle. But now you can see the top of this. All right, let's start the timer. Water's at 98. So in the first pour, I'm gonna go ahead and do 100 grams. I know that for a bloom, that's a lot. I know that for a bloom, that's quite a lot of water, 100 grams. But it's usually what I like to do. I do one pour of 100, let it bloom, and then I'll go ahead pour in the other 200. And then I just play with the flow. Now, as far as for the bloom itself, I don't mess with it. I don't touch it. The first 100 grams of water, I just let it flow however it wants to flow. And then after that, we do have to do some agitation. If not, you will definitely get some channeling with the Tricolate. But you can see it there. Yeah, it's a good sign if you see it that it's dripping from like pretty much from everywhere at the same time. It's not just from one spot. If you're just dripping constantly from one spot, you pretty much guaranteed you're channeling a whole bunch and things are not going well. But in this case, it is kind of trickling all over, so we'll just let it go. Okay, that usually takes about a minute and a half, and that's how long we've been, so I'm gonna go ahead and do the other 200 grams of water. All right, I took it all the way to 302. Let me bring you guys in a little bit closer. I kind of have to get way back here to get the whole thing. All right, hopefully it's focused right there. Okay, now I'm gonna have to start moving it around a little bit because I think it is flowing a bit fast. We're at 2.5 minutes and we're about halfway, so let me do some agitation. Again, I like to use the spoon back and forth in both directions. Usually it's gonna slow it down a little bit. All right, next I do a little swirling and see what that does. All right, I'm gonna do a little bit more with the spoon and then I think I'll leave it alone for this time. Obviously, as time goes, there's less water pushing down on the grounds and it slows down naturally. So be expecting it. You don't want to slow it down too much, or then at the end, it's just gonna take forever and you might end up with a over extracted cup or just something that's not perfect. But nonetheless, it is, like I said, pretty flexible. Anything between like 5 minutes and 8 minutes, you're pretty much gonna get a pretty decent cup. So it should be good. All right, right now we're at 4.5 minutes. Let's see how much longer it's gonna take. All right, it's at 5.5 minutes. We're almost done, and I've kept an eye on it, and it is dripping from several different spots, not just from one constant spot over and over, because that's a bad sign. But right now it is dripping kind of, in different areas, so it should be fine. It should be extracted well. All right, we're at 6 minutes and I think we have less than 30 seconds left. There's very little water. It smells great. It's one of those things about brewing at home. You get to smell it as you grind it. You get to smell it as you brew it. Then you enjoy the cup. I hope you guys are enjoying some coffee right about now. And I'm keeping you company. Hopefully you get something out of this. Maybe some technique or something you didn't know about, or at least keep you company, and maybe you just relax and enjoy a cup of coffee with me. You know, I think after a little bit of practice with the origami, it's definitely going to be easier to master, I think, than the Tricolate. The Tricolate, although I've heard people say that it's like the easiest method, you just set it there and forget about it. In my experience, that could not be farther from the truth. I have had to mess with it back and forth, and you know, between the stirring and the twirling around and the stirring with a spoon and different things to try to control the channeling. But at least it is very flexible as far as your brew time. It doesn't have to be exact. All right, we're done, but it took a whole 8 minutes. So yeah, I just finished a few seconds ago. It took 8 minutes. And let me show you guys what the bed of ground coffee looks like. I'll take a picture. I'll put it on here on the screen so you guys could see it. You know, I'm somewhat happy with it. It's not nice and flat like usually like what I like to get, but it's close enough. We'll taste it and see how it is. All right, so let's try this coffee. Now, something very important with the Tricolate is that once you brew your coffee, the process takes so long that you want to make sure if you brew it into your cup, you want to stir it up really well. If you have it in a carafe like this, you can swirl it around or get a spoon and stir it or something, but it has to be mixed very well, because if not, it's going to settle. Everything's going to settle on the bottom, and it's going to be way stronger at the bottom than what you get out of the top. So, and usually with this, I'm going to get 2 cups up to like halfway. That's how far you're supposed to fill these up, is to halfway. And usually it'll give me 2 of these. Oh man, can't wait to try it. So first time trying the Proud Mary. I gotta say the grounds, when I grounded it, it smelled great. And as it was brewing, also smelled really good. It's a fragrant coffee. Yeah, definitely. Not as much as the geisha I had the other day, but it's up there. Cheers. Hopefully you're enjoying some coffee here with me and I'm keeping you company. Entertain, maybe a little laugh here and there. Nice. It is very tea-like. I would say, first impressions, it is similar to the geisha. Very fragrant, delicate flavor. Yeah, very delicate flavor. I want to try again. Definitely I want to try again. Next time, I think I'm gonna use the origami. Just try to get like a 3 to 4 minute brew time and more concentrated, see if I get more flavor. Maybe what I've been doing on the origami is 20 grams of ground coffee, 300 grams salt. So that's a 1 to 15 ratio. This is probably closer to like 1 to 18. I didn't do the math, but somewhere around 1 to 17 point something, or maybe 1 to 18, something like that. Again, we used, what was it? I think we used 17 grams. We got 300 grams out. So I have to, now it's bothering me. Let me see. Let me check. Okay, so we got 300 grams out and we had 17 grams in. 17.6. So close to 18, 17 and a half. So I'm gonna try to get it down to like a 1 to 15 ratio. So next time we'll try 20 grams and we'll get 300 grams out. Yeah, the flavor is definitely, they're always a little bit different, It's nice tasting, I gotta say, really nice tasting. And I told you guys on a previous video, something about specialty coffee, right? Or just, I don't know, maybe it doesn't have to be, I don't know, because all the light roasts I've had have pretty much, I think all of them have been like specialty coffees. So like higher end kind of coffees. And one of the particular things about them, and I said it before on one of the videos, is that the finish or the aftertaste that you end up with in your mouth is something that it's very good. It's it's awesome. And a lot of coffees that you get somewhere around town, like you know, you end up with like a bitter taste or like some kind of burnt flavors. It's just not great. When you do it at home like this, you know, the finish, the aftertaste of the coffee is fantastic. You know, it's not something that you don't want it to end. In a minute, we'll go ahead and pull a shot. We're gonna pull a shot of the liquid amber and make a milk-based drink. We'll make a cappuccino, and you guys know that's my favorite. And we'll chit-chat a little bit more. So yeah, check these guys out. Check out their website. So far, the most expensive coffee that I've ever bought. Each brew is gonna run you about $6, somewhere around there. I think the little can, 100 grams, was like 36. I think it was 36. You know, I don't mind supporting the industry. You know, that's the thing. If you're into this hobby, you know, you want to support the people that are trying to push the specialty coffee forward and trying to do different interesting things with it. Different processing. This is a natural process. They dry the coffee cherries without washing them first. So there's like a wash process where they take all the little pulp that's inside the cherry and the skin. They take everything out and they just dry the beans. And they do that by washing the coffee. This one's like a natural process where they let it dry. And then, you know, after they let it, the whole cherry with the skin on it, everything. I don't know how they separate it afterwards. I will have to look into that. If you guys know, comment below. If it's not a long explanation, I'm not sure. Oh yeah, so we've met a few new coffee aficionados. We've met a few new people. Last time, I think I spoke about Iceman. And now we have, I believe the name is Joan from the UK. We have Chris. I'm not sure where he's watching from. He said something about, Chris left a comment, something about the spacing between the ground coffee in the portafilter and the shower screen of the group head. Now, this is something I have spoken about before. And the only problem I ran into it was using store-bought pre-ground coffee. There is no problem whatsoever when you're using freshly ground coffee that you did yourself. You ground it to the right fineness, then you have no problem. The coffee sticks to the portafilter and then you just push it, you know, down enough. If you have to grind it so coarse that you can no longer push it down enough, then you have to down dose. It's the only other thing you could do. But for the most part, 18 grams works perfectly fine on something like the Brewing infuser and in most machines out there. Okay, 18 grams will almost always give you enough of a gap. Now, there is no such thing like as an exact gap. Okay, what you do want to have is a minimum gap. That's the issue, and that was why I think the video he commented on is, you know, I was using the pre-ground coffee and there was like no way to level it off. I was using that little tool because it comes with the Brewing infuser and it sets the gap for you. So if you're using store-bought coffee and you can't tamp it right or whatever, you use this tool to level it off and give you the right depth. You can do that with any kind of coffee. But for us that we weigh everything and then we tamp far enough, you know, with fresh coffee, then you're not gonna run into those issues. The only thing is you don't want the coffee grounds in the portafilter to push up against the shower screen of the group head. That's what you don't want. You don't want it to come in contact. As long as you have some separation, even if it's minimal, then you're fine. Okay, you can have more of a gap. That's okay as well. Okay, if you have more of a gap, it's fine. From my understanding, correct me if I'm wrong. Leave a comment. But my understanding is more gap, fine. What you want is some kind of gap. You don't want it to touch. As long as you have some kind of gap there, that's fine. So he talked about a coin, some kind of coin test. So I've never seen that done, but what I imagine that is that, you know, you put a coin on top of your grounds and you lock it in, and the coin should not leave an imprint of the coin on your grounds. But that's the same thing like using the shower screen. As a matter of fact, that'll just say that your gap is bigger, and that's fine. Having a little bit bigger gap, maybe that is the correct kind of gap. Like, I don't know, most coins are like what, like a millimeter or something, or two? Not 2 million, not most. I would say like a millimeter, something like that. That's fine, that's very close, just you don't want it to touch. I think that's enough information on that. but there is a little bit of confusion as to like the gap and how much gap you should have between the ground coffee and the shower screen. So I figured I'd talk a little bit about that. It's lovely coffee. Oh, let's take a look at the tasting notes. So, okay, what I'm getting right now is that it's not, to my palate right now, the way it came out, it's not citrusy, it's more like fruity. It's on the fruitier end, very delicate flavor, great aroma. I would call it mild acidity, but that could be because the brew time was kind of long. If we could have gotten more closer to like 6 minutes, maybe 5.5 minutes on the Tricolate, we would have had higher acidity, less sweetness. Right now it's very sweet, very fruity. So let me see the tasting notes. Okay, so el retiro. This means retirement, the retirement. So if you're buying a lot of this coffee, forget about retirement. I don't know. It depends who you are, but yeah, you might not be able to retire. So it's funny, they call it the retirement. Bernardina, natural. So that's the process. I read into it, and this is a coffee that they have a natural process where they dry the whole cherry. Let's see. The tasting notes. Oh, here we go. Notes. Strawberry, mango, apricot, and syrupy. Okay, so just like what I was saying, right? I said it's fruity. So not very high acidity. So strawberries are, a little bit of acidity. Mango is definitely sweet, a sweet fruit. And apricot, which unless you have it, it's not, sometimes when they're not completely ripe, they are a little bit tart, but it is kind of like a sweet fruit as well. And syrupy. Well, syrupy, maybe if you pull a shot with it, right here, I wouldn't call it syrupy. Definitely not. Now there's a nice body to it, but that's one of the things on the Tricolate. If you like body in your coffee, usually the Tricolate will give you a little bit of that. So it does definitely have it, but it's just like what I noticed, right? It's a very fruity coffee and sweet. When we tried the Indonesia, the one I had a whole bunch of problems dialing in, the tricky one. So on that one, it's very citrus forward. I mean, it's a smack in the face. It's like you bit into like a grapefruit, or, well, I wouldn't call it a lemon because it's just different. You hear the word lemon and it's just too much. And in the case of coffee with the lemon note, it's not like that. It's not like that. It's not that it's too much. I do see the resemblance to the lemon, but it's not so acidic that it's just so, bitter like that. It's not like that, not at all. So there's a balance to it. Man, Jesse, thank you for the recommendation. I will definitely savor the moment. Next time we're gonna try to dial this in on the origami, and we'll do a brew with the origami. So I've been practicing with that Dunkin' Donuts coffee. By the time you watch this video, I've probably done, I don't know, maybe 10 brews or something like that on the origami, and I should have it down packed. The very first one that, if you guys, that video is going to be out after this one. So yeah, that video is coming after this one, and you will see that my technique needed some tweaking, but the cup was great. It turned out awesome. The timing was pretty much spot on. I mean, since then I sped it up a little bit, and I think it's gotten a little bit better, but it was very acceptable. I think my very first go around was pretty darn good. So I'll show you guys my new techniques and what I've been learning from it next time we brew some of this coffee on the origami. But I do have to say, this is excellent. Let me finish this because I don't want the video to get like an hour long like it always does. Yeah, my last video, man, that ended up like a movie. That thing. Sorry guys, but I know some people do enjoy the long videos, but anyway, it is what it is. This one I'll try to keep it shorter. So let me pause this right here, finish this cup, and then we're gonna go and pull a shot with the liquid amber, and we'll make a cappuccino. Hello guys, well, here we are again. I outdid myself once again with another 1 hour long video. I said I was gonna keep it short, that did not happen. So I'm gonna insert this little clip here. I'm gonna split the video up, but don't worry, I'll post both videos at the same time. So if you wanna see the whole thing and and you can stand a whole hour of me talking about coffee, then both videos will be there. If not, you can watch one today and then watch another one a different day. So I'll split them up. One of them will be the pour over section of the video. The other one's gonna be the espresso. So we did pull a shot and we made the cappuccino. But anyway, that will be on the other video. So if you're watching this clip and it's the end of the first video, then thank you for watching. And I'll catch you guys on the next one. Now, if it's the first clip of the second video, then sit back, enjoy as we make a cappuccino and pull a shot of the liquid amber. I am getting ready to record now another video. This one will be coming soon, but it's gonna be a pour over using the origami, again, of the Bernardina variety of coffee from Proud Mary. So anyway, guys, thank you for watching. And if this is the second video, then enjoy the rest of the video. Man, I'm sorry I keep making these hour-long videos, but again, I have a lot of fun with it. And I'm making coffee, relaxing, and really the time just flies. So enjoy, and thank you everyone that has joined the little team here. And I'll see you guys.